They say that talking to yourself is a sign of insanity. But I think that's only if you answer back, right? Right. This is Talking to Myself, the Art Advice podcast where I use anecdotes from my real life to try to make myself a better artist. And possibly a better person. While others might get some use out of this, mostly I'm just trying to avoid paying for therapy. On today's podcast, I thought I would talk about disappointment, which I'm sure no one has ever felt besides me, because I am a unique and wonderful snowflake, right? No. Obviously, everyone feels disappointment about things all the time. Part of being alive and sentient is the recognition that the way you want things to be and the way things are different. And I think it's that impetus that trying to make things the way we want them to be because they're not is pretty much what developed our civilization from scrabbling in the dirt for food to bullet trains and computers. But, as everyone is well aware, disappointment is difficult to deal with, painful, and can actually keep you from making progress because it can make you despair and give up. The anecdote this week is a bunch of stuff, really. I mean, who hasn't had disappointment in their life before? Personally, I've got an issue with my car. I was in a bit of a little fender bender, and my car is super cheap and crappy. So the damage done to fix the damage is more money than the car is worth to sell. Therefore, it's total loss, right? Obviously. However, the person who hit me is refusing to pay. So I'm going to have to try to take them to court, which means even more effort and expense on my part. It just, I should have planned ahead better. I should have had better insurance, and the insurance company could have chased the guy. I should have had a better car. I should have had a better job. I should have probably had a better life. This is the argument is like, why aren't you rich? You should have been rich. Yeah, you're right. I should have been. But, so, and there's another anecdote too. I've been trying to do some drawings for this Halloween coloring book I want to give away this year. I did this a few years ago. I mentioned it once before in the podcast, I think at least once. I'd like to give something back to the community for my favorite holiday, and I'm sure a lot of places in the States are not going to be able to do trick-or-treating like they used to because of the pandemic. So if I can provide something you can print out at home and at least the kids can have a fun activity that's Halloween-based and they can color some coloring books, maybe. It's going to be free to download, and I'm shamelessly going to use it to guide people to my website store. But hey, it's free, so I feel okay about that. But I was trying to do drawings for that recently, and I realized how poor my line skills have gotten. I can't really draw coloring book pages as well as I used to because I've become overly reliant on the shading materials, markers, and colored pencils, and paint and stuff like that, where you don't have to deal with sharp lines. You don't have to deal with trying to get the shape of something down in just a few strokes. You get soft edges and things to blend together, and you can't do highlights on these drawings. You have to do just lines. So I'm becoming frustrated with how difficult these are becoming for me to do, which is kind of sad because if you look at it, they're simpler than my normal art style. It's just a different way of thinking, and it takes me a while to get used to it, and I don't want to, but I'm going to do it anyway. Which brings me to my point. I think if you're going to be an adult, which you don't have a lot of choice, once you're past a certain age, you really don't have a lot of choice, even though a lot of adults, time-wise, physically adults, are not adults. But if you want to be a functioning adult in the world, you have to deal with disappointment, and you have to move past it by continuing to work at what you're trying to do that's disappointing you. There is no other way. If you ignore it, it'll just make you feel bad forever, like poison. It'll be a constant roadblock to you trying to achieve what you want to achieve, and if you keep changing your goals, you're just going to run into another disappointment until you become paralyzed and can't do anything at all. And that has happened to me. It's a huge pain. And honestly, I don't see any way past it except bulldozing right into it until I break through. Or until I break against it. And in which case I'll have to, pivot, change direction, try and go around it somehow. Like if I lost my drawing hand in an accident or something, obviously my drawing skills would immensely drop off. But I think I could train my offhand well enough to draw something The idea being that drawing is not just physical stuff in this instance. So I could probably keep drawing. And I would, if I gave up, I would lose everything. That's the only way you'd really fail, is if you give up. So, despite being disappointed, frustrated, angry, I have to keep going because I have no other choice. Now, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible by trying to relax, keep my fight or flight response in check. But quite frankly, a lot of times during the day, just average day, I want to knock something over. I want to scream as loud as I can, like a child would. I feel like that a lot. And I just have to keep reminding myself that that doesn't help you at all. So don't do that. Try to think of what's going to help you and do that. Or at the very least, don't do things that aren't going to help you. So in my case, I'm going to look into taking this guy to court. I'm going to keep doing the drawings for the coloring book until I get something decent. I'm going to keep reminding myself this is free stuff for people and there's a reason why I'm doing it. There's a reason to keep going with it. And I'm also going to start going to stores looking for Halloween merchandise because it should be on the shelves now, and that always makes me feel better to decorate my house with Halloween stuff. So I'm going to get a lot of jack-o'-lanterns and skulls and bats and black cats and things like that. Hopefully that'll bring a smile to my face. As always, thanks guys for listening. I really appreciate you being here. Hopefully if you have any disappointments in your life, this tiny little bit of encouragement will help you. Or at least laughing at me as I flounder around in this tub of mayonnaise that is my life. You get a laugh out of it. Special thanks as always to my patrons on Patreon. You guys get to hear and see these a week earlier than everyone else, and you are the shiniest people I know. Keep an eye out for announcements on the Halloween coloring book. I'm hoping to make it available at the end of the first week of October, so about a week from now. And it's going to be pretty fun, I think. I hope. We'll see. Take care, everybody. I'll catch you next time.